comic book fans, and welcome to another exciting edition of Cammy's Comic Corner. I'm your host as always, Cammy. This episode of Cammy's Comic Corner has been brought to you by VALKYRIE SQUADRON. From the creator of the hit webcomic March Rocket comes a new science fiction epic spectacular featuring babes, bots, big guns. VALKYRIE SQUADRON, it updates every Tuesday and Thursday at www.valkyriesquadron.com. Be sure to follow on Twitter the creator Jules Rivera, at Jules Rivera, and the comic itself at Valkyrie Squad. Don't want to miss an update. It's a killer webcomic. Now on to the episode. Unfortunately, second week in a row, we do not have a pick of the week. Lo siento. However, again, we do have a Fast Five though, so let's get right into the Fast Five. First up, from Image Comics, we have Super Dinosaur Origin Special #1. And now, we remember that the first issue of this series came out last month, and then you're like, okay, well this is interesting. For Free Comic Book Day, they came out with this issue, and then if you missed it on Free Comic Book Day, then you get it this week. Congratulations, you paid $3.50 for what was free last weekend. So basically, we get a little backstory about Dinosaur, about the Inner Earth, about how Super Dinosaur came to be, how Dr. Dynamo and Max Maximus were friends at first, but then, they went their separate ways when they had different ideas of what to do with the Dinosaur, what to do with the whole Dino Men and the weapons that they make for them. Like Max Maximus wants to have this whole dinosaur army, sell it to the military, make a little something something. Dr. Dynamo doesn't want to do that. He wants to do something different. And then so it's Derek explaining to his new residents at the science facility there how Super Dinosaur came to be. And it's very entertaining. And then in the back, you have some character biographies. So this series could be the next big thing. This could be the next Ben 10 if they wanted to go the route of a Saturday morning cartoon, because hell, I'd watch it. Who wouldn't? It's dinosaurs and robots. How awesome is that? Next up from Marvel, we have Uncanny X-Force #10. Now we have the Shadow King, wanting a little bit of revenge after what those bastards did to him last issue. He takes the Archangel footage of him killing these soldiers on the base and the whole X-Force killing everyone at the base, and he takes it to an LA Times reporter, and he goes, here you go, have fun with this. And this is like the biggest story of the year because, like, hey, these X-Men who are all about, peace and love and all that stuff, well, they have their own little mutant hit squad, and they're taking out U.S. soldiers or, taking out civilians, it looks like. And so now it's up to Archangel and the X-Force to stop this from happening. Well, Archangel's feelers tell him that, oh, by the way, this is the reporter, you should go kill him so the secret remains safe. But now it's up to Wolverine, Psylocke, the rest of X-Force to make sure that Warren doesn't get completely overwhelmed by Archangel and he does something stupid like killing this reporter. They divert it from happening, but then they wonder, well, how do we suppress this Archangel because he's getting more radical and out of control. They talk to Dark Beast after they break him out of prison, and he tells them, well, he needs a life seed because if Apocalypse is dead and you guys killed him like you said you did, he is the heir to the throne of Apocalypse, so now he wants to ascend, and you need to go back to my dimension to get a life seed to, counteract this effect. So it was a very interesting issue. I love the art, I love the story. X-Force continues to be one of those good, cool books to read, and yeah, they were this close to being exposed. They will in the future, I'm sure, but they were this close this time. Next up from Boom Studios, we have 28 Days Later, #23. Now, the infected have retaken London, and so the military, instead of trying to save everybody, they just let them fend for themselves. Like, okay, we can't contain this, so we're going to kill everybody, make sure no word gets out of what happened here. So you got the infected invading the civilians, the living, and then the military are sniping at everyone. Don't care who you kill, as long as people are dead and dying, and this is a cover-up. Well, Clint makes it possible to escape, and he's trying to escape with some friends, but they've been infected as well. And Selena has finally moved on from her past life, and she goes to go find Clint, help him out, and they survive an air raid that happened. They just take out this entire complex just to keep it hush-hush. And then they have that nice little kiss at the end. So they're in it to win it again, together. They have reunited, and now, who are they going to tell? Who are you going to call? Ghostbusters? I don't think so. That's an IDW property. But it was a fun book nonetheless, and it's so sad to see this wrap up because there's only a few issues left. And then Lo Siento, no more 28 Days Later. It was a very good run, though. Next up from DC, we have Batman Gates of Gotham #1. Now, this is kind of one of those series, which is plotted by Scott Snyder, that puts, again, the detective back into Detective Comics. Batman's the ultimate detective, so we are going to treat him as such. We have a little backstory of the creation of Gotham City and how the three richest families all had bridges named after themselves. The Cobblepots, the Waynes, and the Elliots. And now we see this in present day where these three bridges are blowing up, and the madman behind it, we don't know what his motives are yet, but we do know that he wants Hush, Mr. Elliot himself, to come out and play. And meanwhile, it's up to the whole Batman team to figure out what's the connection, who's this new guy, how does he interact with the past and these bridges and the whole older families of Gotham. It's very cool to, I like Trevor McCarthy's art in this. It's very whimsical, as it were. But the whole concept of, what happened back centuries ago in Gotham to present day, it'll be interesting to see. I mean, the Wayne we're looking at is Alan Wayne, which is like Bruce's grandfather. So there's got some history, and that's one of the most fascinating things about Gotham is the history, how it came to be. And now we're going to find out in this little miniseries. But it was a good first issue nonetheless, and I recommend it if you're looking for something a little bit different in the Bat universe. And finally this week from Image, we have Science Dog Special #2. Now, years ago it feels like, when we last left our hero, previously, and when we last left Science Dog, he was abducted by these weird-looking aliens. Well, we find out what their reason of abducting him is this issue. They want to go back home. They need fuel, but they don't want to find fuel. They want him to create an alternative fuel source. And so he just has a whole new concept of like motion in space or something that he presents to them instead. But he's in this isolation chamber for 11 months, his time, being able to never have to sleep, eat, grow tired or weary. And he eventually comes up with this contraption, but turns out that he's missed a lot from planet Earth since a year. Like, a friend died, he has to try to go back in time to save him. Doesn't work when he goes back in time, so he goes back in time again to prevent it from happening by sneaking into his own base, flying up to the aliens, who are like, how did you know we were here? And he's saying, listen, I know you guys need to get home. Let me make something up for you. Just promise you'll take me with you. Because then his past self can take care of the villain, his friends survive, and he's still the hero that day. But it's the ultimate sacrifice that he has to make. And it was just very touching. And then again, it's Science Dog, though. It's supposed to be fun, wacky, wild. It's been a creation from, the Invincible universe for years. And it's fun. It's a nice little nod to the fans who have been with the inside jokes and whatnot. And they even have a nice little explanation in the back by the editor about how much fun Science Dog can be and how we can all, enjoy this one character in particular. Very good stuff. I'm sure it might be collected in graphic novel form some years down the line. But yeah, pick it up. What have you got to lose? Seriously. Well, comic book fans, that does it this week for Cammy's Comic Corner. If you want more Cammy's Comic Corner goodness, where do you go? Cammy'sComicCorner.com. Every Wednesday I have a new Geeky Talkie, the audio spin-off of the podcast. Every Friday I have my favorite covers of the week reviewed. And then every Sunday actually, I have the weekly review show. Then at the beginning of the month, Book of the Month. End of the month, Top Shelf Selection. End of the month, Top Shelf Selection. So there's always something going down on the site. Leave a review on iTunes or on YouTube. It really helps when people are looking for new stuff to subscribe to. And then, just come chat with me on the forums. Not that anyone does that. They follow me on Twitter instead. This episode has been brought to you by Valkyrie Squadron. From the creator of the hit runaway webcomic Marsh Rocket comes a new science fiction epic spectacular featuring babes, bots, and big guns. Valkyrie Squadron, updating every Tuesday and Thursday at www.valkyriesquadron.com. And be sure to follow them on Twitter, them being the creator Jules Rivera, @JulesRivera, or the Valkyrie Squadron comic itself, @Valkyrie Squad. So that does it this week for Cammy's Comic Corner. You are a bloody heathen if you're watching this, because, like me, you did not get raptured yesterday. So I apologize, but we're all in this hellhole together. But keep in mind that I myself know the actual date of the apocalypse and the rapture and all that stuff. Apparently it's coming up in Uncanny X-Force, in the Dark Angel saga or something like that. It's the Age of Apocalypse coming up. But anyway, we'll just look at Marvel. Marvel, when is it going to happen? You can tell us now.